So coming back to your travel, so you've traveled to a lot of places everywhere, which includes your high altitude mountain ranges as well. So you said you're going to Ladakh next year.
Yep.
Because there's a start of the season, June starts second week, and people just going to Ladakh. But then it's not an easy ride to do, you know.
I've done it before.
Yeah, you've of course done it. I did it back in 2013 and then again in 15.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know, I might go this year as well.
Yeah.
So
I'll see you
it's
there.
yeah, and absolutely, it'll be lovely. So physically, it is a task, and to sustain that in a lot of other places where you've traveled, what is the kind of advice that you would give to people who are going for the first time riders to Ladakh or any high altitude mountain passes? Because there is slush, you come across snow, you come across rains, and then there is oxygen is dropping and everything. So in terms of fitness, or what do you have to eat there? So what's your mantra? How do you just make it happen?
So it's a little different for me since I do this full time. But people who want to do this for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the physical conditioning is not really a huge factor. If you do this full time, like I do, conditioning is a huge factor. But basically, it doesn't matter what you take, what you do, how you do it. Just go slow. Don't drive like an Indian. Don't be in a hurry. Don't try to get somewhere fast. Go slow. So that means if you go slow, you can take any motorcycle, any gear. Almost anybody with any health can do it. But for some people, the altitude does get them, and that's just genetic. There's really no way. You can prepare for it, but it's not always feasible for most people.
Right.
So my suggestion is the hardest part is starting a trip like this, and then being mentally prepared rather than physically.
True.
So if your brain isn't ready to do it, no matter what, then you are setting yourself up to fail. Because if you get yourself in a bad situation, you're not going to be inspired or motivated enough to conquer it. That's what I'm saying. So mental awareness and preparedness is my biggest suggestion.
Okay. Okay. And let's talk about traveling outside of countries.
Yep.
You know, because now a lot of Indians are at least considering that they at least know that now it is possible, because of a couple of riders from India. They did a world ride recently, and now a lot of people also want to do that.
One world, one ride.
Yeah, one world, one ride. I met him also when he was back. So a lot of people want to do it, but did not know how do they start. What are the kind of challenges that you're going to face? Because your water changes, your food changes, the climate changes. It's a tough thing to do, right? What I wanted to actually ask is, for Indians, especially when they travel outside of country, they have to obtain a lot of formalities and carnet certificates and everything. And I met Debashish when he was back from his ride. So he says that the carnet certificate is not, it's actually a scam. It's not required in most of the countries. What is it?
The carnet.
The carnet certificate, yeah. So it's not required. It's just unnecessary. It is, you have to obtain this, otherwise you can't ride. So you've come across any challenges like that while transporting the bike? If you remember something, if you mention that.
Every single country is a challenge. So the carnet is really for vehicles only really in Africa, where you do need it. Basically, do your research. Just realize, go to each government's website. It does take planning. It takes a considerable amount of logistical resources and time to do it. And yeah, I've come across, every border you cross is different. Every country you come across is monetary issues, it's documentation issues, visa issues, but it's all doable if you're able to plan ahead.
Any challenge that you remember while entering a country? I mean, it's just not happening. Every time you're going there, you're being stopped.
Every country is different.
True, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, there's been situations to where the documents I have, they don't like, so I need to get something else. Sometimes I need to pay fees and things that seem silly, like insurance or other things. But it's just, I see it as a rite of passage. So it's part of the political system that you have to do it to get something. So you just have to, it's like dancing. So you have to dance with the political system, and then you're able to get in and do everything you want to do. But it's a stupid dance. It's a silly dance. It doesn't make sense. It's costly, but it's part of the process. And yeah, I deal with these issues all the time.
And now you're well prepared before ride. So
I always prepare before, because I don't show up to a border unprepared, because there's a possibility I can't cross, and I waste my time. I waste my money.
Good. Okay. Now coming back to India, you went to some other ride a few days back.
Yeah.
Somebody sent me a video about that. And when you travel to the interiors of India,
Yeah.
the rural part of India, it is a lot different from
Absolutely.
metro cities. Any incidences that you remember of how welcoming the people are, or any bad instances, something like, oh, this should have not happened. Especially when you go in the interiors. Because personally, what I've realized is the deeper you go inside, people get better. They're more willing to accept you, willing to invite you.
The more disconnected they are from society. Yeah, I find that all over the world actually. The more, the deeper you go into a country, further away from the big cities, into the more rural parts of a country, the more genuine and simple people you find. People who are generally look a lot happier than city people.
Right.
So here in India, I had a great experience near Chandigarh. And
Okay.
there's a little village. We went about an hour away from Chandigarh, and there was a school having a class, and everybody was just so happy to see a random Western foreigner. And everybody started taking selfies with us, and they all wanted to be part of the picture. And we had a crowd of about 150 children just crowd around us as we were trying to film something. And I posted not recently, but in the past, I posted one selfie that has like 100 children around me, and it was just an incredible experience.
Yeah.
And that was really far away from anything, and they were super nice, super friendly, and they even ran and followed us through the entire village as we were riding until we left.
Right. Okay. Last couple of questions. Safety is a big issue when it comes to riding, especially motorcycle riding and long distance touring. Even daily commuters who go from their home to offices or home to colleges, they do not take safety very seriously. What is the kind of message that you, because the position that you have, people really look up to you, respect you. If you have to tell them one thing, this is why you should be, you should wear a riding gear or a helmet or anything. Just drive slow, look after your body, whatever you're doing. So one message that you would want to give out to people at large.
For safety.
Yes.
I would say the message is, that's a hard one.
Something. Why should somebody
Ask the question to yourself every time you get on a motorcycle: how much is your life worth to you? Is it worth the effort to wear a helmet? Is it worth the effort of the monetary investment to gear? Basically, how much do you value your life? So realize that anything can happen at any time.
True.
And you should always prepare for the worst. And I realize that's economically not feasible for a lot of people, but at least always have a helmet.
Yeah.
Very rarely do I drive without a helmet.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, last one. You've probably about 50 countries you've traveled now, over 50 countries.
About, yeah.
And so let's say, for example, India. You've traveled India more than most Indians have done.
Yeah.
I think 98% of the Indians have not seen a lot of India. They've just been in their city or a couple of holiday places around their cities. Is there, like you're going to Ladakh next week, is there one place that you're still trying to go, I want to go there? I'm sure you've seen all of it, but in India or anywhere else in the world that you still have on that's still a bucket list. You've done everything, right, from even adventure, deep sea diving to skydiving to everything you've done. So one thing that is still there.
So my bucket list is not destinations. My bucket list is actually experiences and adventures. And one of the adventures is drive across India on a motorcycle. That's one of the bucket list items, but there's not one destination I'm specifically dying to go to. It's the experience of living within India for a duration of time, of just India, not one specific place. Right. I know it's a bad answer for
No, I know what you mean. I understood that. I understand where you're coming from. I got that. Okay, last challenges. When you are traveling every day, you're eating different food.
Yeah.
That takes a toll on the body. Not everybody can digest everything.
Yeah.
How do you cope up with that?
Making,
it's
making good food choices is always.
I don't get good food everywhere.
Correct. So
while traveling, if I have to say, if I'm on say National Highway number 8, so I was speaking to this Hollywood trainer called Ramana Lewis, and she told me that fast food is the worst thing that you can have while traveling.
Yeah.
It was a special Ladakh interview which we were doing, and she was talking about how do you keep yourself fit. So fast food is the biggest sin that you can do.
Yeah.
Because that's going to make you lazy and you won't be able to go for 500, 600 kilometers. At that time, what do you do? Do you carry food What do you do?
Yeah, so sometimes I carry like nutritional bars for backup, and then I always seem to find food on the road. And sure, it's not the healthiest food, but what I do is I like to keep fit. So I do exercise at night.
Right.
I try to do something to keep physically fit.
Do you meditate?
I think just driving a motorcycle is
Wow,
meditating.
that's a great answer.
So
Okay.
I meditate every single day as I drive.
Right. Yeah. Anything you want to add? Just about Mumbai.
Mumbai.
Because Mumbai is a circus.
I like to think of Mumbai as organized chaos.
It's organized chaos.
Yeah, and it's very difficult, but it's also very challenging and very entertaining to drive, live, eat, and survive here. So it's actually a lot of fun for me to figure it out because it's a different place and culture I'm not used to. So when I look for experiences around the world, I always look for things like this, like just living for a week in Mumbai. That's a challenge and that's an experience for me that most people are used to because it's daily life. For somebody like me, it's very completely different.
Right. And I hope you have a good experience
Yeah,
this time around.
everything.
Sure.
But it allows me to connect with the people. So
Yeah.
so now, after spending 2 weeks in Mumbai, I can say, you know what, I understand what living daily life in Mumbai is like. I understand you. And when I meet people around the world from India or Mumbai, we have great conversations because they realize that I have lived like them for a duration of time. It's, you know what, you understand it.
Yeah.
You get it.
True. Perfect. I think
Yeah.
I got all of it.
I have one question if you don't mind.
Yeah.
This is one question.
Sure.
So this is very specific. It's about one multi-plano video that you posted recently. The day where you were feeling not so great.
Oh, yeah, not
I think,
motivated.
Unmotivated completely. And you wanted to end the video basically
Yeah.
because you didn't have anything positive to add at that point.
Yeah.
Right? So what I want to ask you is, what did you think after making the video? So I mean, obviously you were feeling sad, or you were questioning basically your purpose, as I could understand. And what made you? I mean, so how was that night basically, and how was the following morning for you? I mean, if you could.
So, emotions is what it is. So the moment I felt I was inadequate, what was I doing? I was confused. I was unmotivated. I was physically just not feeling well, emotionally, mentally not well. Was that moment, and I captured it. And then throughout the day, it got a little better, and then it just became normal. And I filmed, and I kept doing the normal things that I did, and it was really hard to do that. And I said, you know what? I just have to do it. I just have to do it. When I started editing the video, I realized that I actually had really good footage that day, and it wasn't as crazy. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was. And I smiled and I said, "Wow, that was a very interesting temporary emotion and feeling." And I said, "Well, that's part of life. Is we have highs, we have lows." And my message was, you know what? Despite it being a bad day, it was actually a good day in some other aspect, other
So something
perspective.
that's cheered you up, basically,
Yeah.
good footage for that.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that turned out pretty good.
So I want to take basically I want to thank you, man, because your footage is really good.
Thank
what
you.
you spoke about earlier.
Thank you
It
for
really
watching.
is good. Yeah, and I mean it's not popcorn stuff is what people go for
Yeah.
of late, especially on UGC platforms. But your stuff is something that like every time I get a notification, YouTube, oh okay, I have to see it. I take time off work at that point, and I have to see it. And it has to be 1080p, like
Yeah, at least.
right. Because obviously, otherwise, why are you doing this, right? If I don't look at it at
Exactly.
that resolution. So yeah, I mean
Thank you.
please, yeah, keep doing it. There are a lot of people like us who enjoy it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
might
love
not
it.
get-
Totally.
a lot of Indian masses might not, you know what I mean? Like
The majority of people are watching on cell phones anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So yeah, thank you so much.
Ravi, we thank on behalf of all of us. Yeah.
Thank you very much as well. If I can provide any pictures, you can grab anything you want.